The Intellectual Gentlemen's Club.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intellectual Gentlemen's Club. I want to thank everybody for tuning in again and subscribing for the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher, wherever you may find us. And for all your sharing out there that you're doing and discussing online, we really appreciate that. We're sponsored today by our affiliate sponsors with Amazon.com and Onnit.com. That's ONNIT.com. Onnit is a total human optimization company. They specialize in nootropics, different vitamins, and health equipment. So kettlebells and battle ropes and all kinds of cool t-shirts and things like that. If you click on either of those links through the intellectualgentlemensclub.com webpage, that is a portal that brings you in, and anything you purchase through that session will give us a couple bucks to cover the light bills and the web hosting and such. So we appreciate all the support that you do on there. We also have a PayPal button on there if you want to donate directly. I am Jason Abbott. I am joined by my co-host once again, Melanie Abbott.
Hello.
And we have a guest today from Los Angeles, California. His name is Curtis Lovell II. He is an illusionist and escape artist. He has been featured on many TV programs and other radio shows, also in publications nationwide. He has worked with some big-time celebrities, and he has been called the modern-day Houdini and performed numerous death-defying stunts. Welcome, Curtis.
Thank you for having me, Jason.
Not a problem. It's great to have you on. So thanks for joining us today. First off, maybe you could discuss how you got involved in everything and how magic came into your life.
Wow, many years ago. I was like a little child, 7, 8, 9 years old, looking for a hobby. And I went to the library one day, came across magic books, and I fell in love with the world of magic. I came across Houdini, Blackstone, and a few other famous magicians from the earlier times. And I ran home with the books, flipped through the pages, like, Dad, look, magic. I was trying to do the magic tricks and things in that order. He was helping me. He actually learned a trick where you can take a coin, place it in your one hand and make it disappear and pull it from behind your ear. That was amazing for me. And then I went back to the library again a few weeks later and got books on building a rocket ship to fly to the moon. Then I went to school and saw a magician, and I fell in love again with magic. Well, for birthdays and Christmas and other holidays, I received magic kits. And I just fell in love with the world of magic.
So
and when I was about 18...
You just kept coming back and back to the same type of love then, right?
Exactly. And when I was about 18 years old, I came across a pair of handcuffs. And I slapped the cuffs onto my wrist, and I realized something important. I didn't have the keys.
Oh, no.
That's kind of a problem, yeah.
That is a big problem.
Yes. My mother wasn't home. So I had about 2 hours to get out of these handcuffs. So here I was, flipping through magic books and books on Houdini, learning how to pick handcuffs. It took me about an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes to escape from the cuffs. A few weeks later, I thought I was a pro and went on a local television show, and I escaped from a pair of handcuffs. It took me about 2 minutes. The host said, "Oh, that's totally awesome, but can you escape in 20 seconds?" I was like, "You're not impressed? The last time took me an hour and a half."
And you were 18 at this time, too?
About 18, 19,
Wow.
maybe 17. I mean, the years, as you get older, everything gets foggy,
Yeah, definitely.
And so I went back on a show 2 weeks later, and I was able to escape from the handcuffs, not in 20 seconds, but 10 seconds flat.
Wow.
Oh, that's impressive.
Thank you.
I mean, I know I can't do that. So.
No.
Well, Jason, I don't think you escape from handcuffs. I think you might enjoy them a bit
Maybe.
on a Friday night.
Cozied up somewhere in a corner in my home.
What about the fuzzy ones? That would be fun
Yeah,
too.
yeah, definitely.
Well, those are easy to pick.
Right.
So these handcuffs that you picked on this show, and specifically the first ones that you got on, were these? So I'm assuming they're not your run-of-the-mill toy cuffs or anything like that. Those are police cuffs, or?
Yes, these are police cuffs or official restraints that they were used in some kind of law enforcement or the prison system.
Okay.
Now, you're thinking like a magician. A lot of people think at first, like, oh, we're using trick handcuffs, trick locks. You know what? I never seen a trick lock or a trick handcuffs.
Okay.
You might see fake handcuffs or fake locks. That's different. But that's what magicians use. I actually use real regulated cuffs or equipment, I should say. The difference is a magician is tricking you. I'm an escape artist.
That was our
And
question.
what you see is real. Okay, the cuffs are on my wrist. Chains wrapped around my body. Shackled to a concrete block. Being tossed into a swimming pool. I must escape within a minute or two, or I'm going to drown.
Right.
There's not a magic trick about it.
Right.
The magicians you see on a TV who puts a straitjacket on or puts the handcuffs and go into the box and they disappear from the box, those are illusions, magic tricks. What I do is an escape, something similar to a daredevil, but with more showmanship.
Gotcha. And when did you start doing escapes? I mean, you mentioned when you were 18, doing the cuffs and things like that, but you've done some crazier things that most people would say. And when did you start doing these more elaborate escapes?
Oh, such as being dropped into the Singapore River, being buried alive, not once, but twice.
Right.
Being locked into buckets of water, hanging upside down from helicopters, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm referring to.
Oh, okay, all right. That's fun stuff. Well, that's a whole nother story. I had a promoter contact me one day, and she was like, I went to send you to Singapore, but you have to do something very elaborate. And I was like, what about I get locked into a box? Put shackles on me and lock me into a box and have them hammer it closed with the nails they bring and put their own locks on, and then we put a curtain up and I escape in a few minutes. She goes, what about we put you in a box, hammer it shut, attach it to a cable, have a crane lift you in the air and drop you into the Singapore River.
Oh, sounds like fun.
Yeah, actually, that's what I said. I'm going, that's totally cool. Let's do it. So with some preparation and some studying, this is when I referred back to this book. So I was flipping through the books, what Houdini did and a few other escape artists. I was like, this is what we could do. But I came across something a little different. I go, let's eliminate the box. This is what magicians do. I don't want to be confused with a magician. I go, allow me to put myself into a torture device. But this torture device is something that the pirates once used. It's basically, they would put you onto some kind of two planks, and one plank above you and one plank below you, and then they would have rope around it, so you're kind of like a Oreo cookie in the middle, right. And they would shackle you to it, your hands up in the air and your feet, down, on the bottom plank, shackled, and they would drop you into the ocean and lift you back up. And they would drop you again and lift you back up. And this is a form of torture.
I'm sorry. How long did they dunk you each time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let me finish the torture device
Sure.
Concept, and then I'll tell you all the fun stuff.
Okay.
All right. So, okay, I was like, what about this torture device type of thing? And you can actually see me going into the river, and you're not questioning that I vanished and I'm going to appear on a building.
Sure.
And she goes, oh, appearing on a building, that's totally cool. I go, well, that's a magician. I go, no, I'm going to actually escape, and I might drown, and that will bring a lot of media. She goes, that's even better, Curtis. All right, so...
A little sensational.
Huh?
Just a bit sensational.
Yes, exactly. That's what we look for. So, that's what we aim for. So I'd been shackled to this apparatus, which we made out of steel and chains, and I was lifted in the air and then dropped into the Singapore River. He lifted me up a few times and dropped me again, and you can just see all this water pouring down my face. And sometimes when I came up, you can see me trying to pick the cuffs and things in that order. And a few minutes later, they pull it all the way up. I'm gone, but when they kept lifting it up in the air, I'm hanging off the rope. And then I get returned to the ground, a round of applause, and I successfully escaped. We had such a large turnout. We were rebooked 17 times within the course of 9 days.
Wow. Oh my God.
That's a lot of dunking.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. It was amazing. And they wanted me to add more shows, and I just looked at it. I'm like, I am tired. I can't go into the river anymore.
Do you notice? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. You probably have something.
Yeah, I was just wondering. Being dunked in the Singapore River, I know that you've been traveling around the world doing these stunts. Do you notice that there is a difference from culture to culture about how many people show up, or what they're expecting, or what kind of buzz there is about everything?
Well, usually any type of stunt I do, it brings a lot of media attention as well as spectators. There are a few reasons why. We'll touch bases in a moment on the reasons. But about the culture, yes. Like over in Asia and in Europe, when you speak to a promoter or a sponsor, and you say, hey, I want to hang upside down from a helicopter in a straitjacket, and I want to escape, I want to put your logos all over it, and I want you to pay for it. They're like, totally cool, let's do it. When you speak to the American side of business, and you tell them, I'm going to be buried alive, I'm going to be dropped into the ocean, or I'm going to hang upside down from a crane and chains and shackles with rope on fire, they're like, that's totally cool, but no, the liability. So
I'm sure insurance companies love you.
Yes, they do. Yeah, that's a whole nother aspect.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit, I guess.
Yes. So, in America, they're like, that's cool, but we're not sure. We had to convince a few bosses here. And, usually people are afraid, like, a refrigerator company one time wanted me to go into a freezer and lock it up and things in that order. But the legal department said no, because kids get in the refrigerators and they die.
Right.
But over in Asia, they're like, we don't care.
Right.
I mean, if the kid gets in the refrigerator, that parents' fault. They didn't teach them not to go in the refrigerator, So that's a whole different aspect. Asia's treated me very well on countless occasions. For a mall at 2:00 in the afternoon, we attracted 3,000 or 4,000 people at one time, and they had to add shows and things in that order. Now, the stunts I decide to attempt are stuff that people can relate to, meaning, we all have different type of fears, like being in closed spaces, or drowning, or waking up and we realize we're in a coffin because people thought we were dead. We're actually buried alive. Tales from the Crypt.
Frightening material, right?
Yes,
definitely.
Yes. So things in that order. So I like to face those fears, and that's why I get large crowds. Like, this guy is going to be shackled into a coffin, 1,000 pounds of dirt. This guy's going to hang upside down from a helicopter. He might fall and die. Or, this guy is going to be chained and shackled and thrown into a swimming pool or into the ocean. He might drown. We all have that fascination of death because it's unknown to us, right?
Sure.
And so it attracts a lot of attention. Now, when you see magicians on televisions and on these reality TV shows, I mean, I've done a few reality TV shows, so you might have seen me a few times. I know my number one fan has seen me a million of times. I call her Mom. But back when you see a magician on television and you see him like on a table with these spikes above him and there's a rope with a candle burning, that's totally cool. But like, he's going to escape, but you can't emotionally relate to that,
right?
Because you're like, hey, it's a magic trick, and I never thought about being on a bed on a bed or on a table with
About to be
a bed of
impaled by
nails above
spikes.
me and going
Right.
to fall on me.
Right. You
But
think
I
of being
thought about,
drowned, drowning
Exact-
in water. That's a scary, scary thought.
For all humans,
Right.
we have these particular points of fear.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
Right.
I understand. Yeah.
Exactly, and I've overcame those points of fear. Now, an interesting story, I didn't realize, I thought I was just entertaining people, right? Here's the thing. People don't come hoping that I will die. People want to come and be entertained, and they want to be there just in case I do.
Yeah, because they want to be a part of that and say, "Oh, I was there when that happened."
Exactly, and they want to Facebook it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in these stressful situations and you're beating these fears of yours, how do you train your body and your mind to not panic in these situations? 'Cause I know if somebody locks me in a box, fills it with water, throws a lock on it, I'm in handcuffs, I'm going to panic.
Yeah.
It's just no getting around
Me
it. So you have experience with it. You have to train for it, obviously. But how do you prepare your mind to go through something like that?
Well, you've said a couple key words in your last question, and it's all about not panicking. You have to have control of your mind. You have several options. When you're underwater with handcuffs, locks, and shackles, and to a concrete block or to a 200-pound weight, you have two options. One option is to escape, or the other option is to drown. Mm-hmm. And I usually don't take the option of drowning.
Right.
I would hope not. But we are talking, so
Right.
Yes. So and with that option of not drowning, you have to control of your mind. You can't panic. You have to stay focused. I have to know all aspects of these cuffs. For example, if one cuff is giving me some issues, if the right side it's giving me some issues, I know I can go to my left side, my left hand, where it's cuffed, and I can pick that cuff. And now there's a reason why. I know my fingers are double jointed, and I'm able to wiggle my fingers and help me slide from the cuffs. So it's my little secret backup plan I just revealed to you.
Perfect.
And,
that was another one of my
Yep,
questions.
absolutely.
Double jointed.
Yes,
Okay.
double jointed. Just things in that order. I just had to stay focused. It's all about having control of your mind. I don't know how to explain it, having control of your mind. It's like I'm underwater. I'm like, okay, I can't breathe. I can't get out.
Total awareness
I
of
can
what's going on.
panic, or just stay focused. I think that's the key element is staying focused. Now, another thing I realized, I didn't realize I was going beyond entertainment. I was actually helping people with their own fears. I had this lady once write me a letter, and she said, "Curtis, I saw your show with Tony Curtis when it was an opening act, and where I was locked into a box of water, similar to the escape that Tony Curtis portrayed in the 1950s movie Houdini, the water escape." And she goes, "I've always had a fear of drowning. And I noticed you in your little tight bathing suit up on stage in front of thousands of people. You get into a small box.
Awkward.
Yes. And water, it's filled with water, and you escape." And she goes, "I'm afraid of water. I cannot put my head under water. I can't walk into the ocean. I can't go swimming. Showers freak me out. It takes me hours to take a shower." And she goes, if this gentleman can go on stage in front of thousands of people, perform this escape, I can go in water. So she said she went to the beach, and she was running toward the ocean, and she's like, "Oh no." She stopped. And she went up to her ankles, and she backed off a bit, and then she worked her way up to her knees. And she said a few weeks later, she was able to go up to her waist. And then one day, she just turned around and allowed the wave take her away. She goes, it was the most amazing experience in her life.
That's cool.
That's going to be great.
It's very touching. And I've also received some other letters that's very similar. And I've also received some very interesting letters as well.
I can imagine.
So Yes.
Now, when you're going underwater and stuff like that, I mean, don't you have to train your body to hold your breath and things like that? Like, I know there's some people out there that can hold their breath for like 5 minutes, and I just don't understand how anybody can do that. So, do you have to actually train your body to go through something like that?
Yes, you have to go through training. Yes,
Yeah.
or I go through training. I basically, what happened was I had an older cousin who would just hold my head underneath the water, and he goes, "I'll let you up in 10 minutes." So.
Oh my gosh. That's some
No,
good
actually,
training.
No, actually, no. There are ways you train yourself. Good old bathtub. I mean, I take a shower and I'm like, you know what? I want to push my limits. I want to hold my breath for 10 seconds or 20 seconds longer than I did last time. And I just decided to fill up the bathtub and I just put my head underneath the water.
Wow.
And I practice. I love practicing in public swimming pools because I love going off the diving board
And not coming up.
Diving off.
Freaking people out.
Yes, I go underwater. I'm like da 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 da. So I'm having my own little show, and they don't realize what's going on. And,
Lifeguards are jumping in.
Yeah, you can see lifeguards getting up and wondering. And I love just going down and then a few moments and just blow all the air out of my lungs, and then that big bubble goes up, and you can just imagine they're like, okay, I think I'm gonna have to get in. So they put down the iPhone and the Facebooking. I think someone's drowning. Should I get in? I'm the lifeguard.
Let's just post it.
Yeah, let's Facebook
Somebody
it.
else will help them, right?
Yeah, and then people get around like, what's going on? And a few minutes later, and then that's my favorite part. And when I do that big bubble, and I just allow my back float up like I'm drowning.
Oh my god!
and then I shoot up. I'm like, hello, and people are just looking at me. They don't say anything. They're mortified. They're like,
Oh yeah,
Right.
what's going on?
Everyone's in shock.
Yeah, as the little kid in the kiddie pool is drowning for real, and I'm having my own little escape show.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm kidding on that
No.
part. I hope. Hopefully, I was
Right.
kidding.
So you got to tell me, man, what's it like to be buried alive? Twice.
Yeah.
Would you say that's probably your most challenging stunt that you've done? Escape.
The second time it was more challenging. The first time was amazing, and okay. I'm in this coffin, right? I had this coffin. I had a wooden coffin made with a plexiglass front, so you can see that I'm in this coffin the entire time. Because again, like I said earlier,
You don't want to be
only
pulling a
gets
trick,
magic
right?
trick.
Yeah.
Yes, and magicians. I mean, I would love to get a real coffin and just go in and escape from it. But this is an old pine box style coffin, which is very impressive in its own, or freaky in its own way.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we always invite the local authorities to examine everything. They bring their own cuffs and locks sometimes, and they examine everything to the satisfaction, and that's when the stunt starts. Here's the thing. When I'm in this coffin and you just see all this dirt being shoveled onto you, and then you see thousands of faces or hundreds of faces staring at you,
That's fucking
then all of a
intense.
sudden it gets dark.
Oh my gosh, that's intense.
Oh my god.
Exactly. And you're like, okay, now I'm starting to pick the locks. I'm trying to get out. And then I get the coffin open just enough to get my hand through the crack. And then I start digging some dirt out. And of course, dirt's falling in my face. And it's getting hot and I'm losing air as well. So I'm
trying not to panic, right?
Yeah, it's trying not to panic, and I'm picking the locks, and then, I'm able to get my hand out even more, and then it just pops out, and the audience just sees it, and you hear them screaming and clapping, things in that order. Then I pull my hand back down. That's just the beginning. I still have like 15, 20 minutes
Right.
or more, This is just like, I'm still alive, maybe, So
For a little bit, at least.
For a little bit, yes, and I'm using everything. I'm using my feet. I'm kicking out, and I'm trying to lift it up. I'm doing doggy style type of thing, and I'm trying to lift the coffin up. I'm pounding on it and wiggling myself through the dirt. That's my first attempt of being buried alive. And I do want to know, I'm an admirer of Houdini. I say this with all due respect. Houdini performed Buried Alive once, and he said he would never do it again because it was too dangerous.
Oh, wow.
Yes. But I had to push the envelope.
Sure.
Last Halloween, someone gave me an envelope full of cash. So I'm like, okay, I'll do this.
That's good motivation, right?
Yes, yeah. The stuff I do doesn't come cheap, by the way.
Right,
Oh, I
sure.
can imagine.
It shouldn't either.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't sell yourself short.
So the second time, this is very interesting. We build a grave on stage inside of this like dinner theater restaurant bar establishment. We had 1,000 pounds of dirt brought in. The news media was there at 5 o'clock in the morning doing their Good Morning LA stuff. And like, can you come and demonstrate this? I'm like, it's 5 in the morning and I'm supposed to escape at 10 o'clock at night. And you want me to get, I'm so tired. I'm going to be so tired.
Right.
But, you know, I love PR. So I was like, okay, I'll do it, you know. And so that night, the performance, I get in the coffin. It gets, you know, they're shoveling the dirt, you know, over the plexiglass, and it gets dark. And we're going out. It gets real hot because, you know what? I'm inside of an establishment.
I'm sorry. At this point, were you experiencing the same type of emotions as the first time, or was it different already?
I was a little bit nervous the second time, thinking I was thinking my audience was going to disappear on me because they're standing up for 20, 30 minutes. I'm like, they're going to go get a drink and they're going to go outside. They're like, you know what? This guy's in his box. Who cares, right? So, so I was nervous for my crowd, right? And this promoter. But here I am. Here's something we study these all aspects. I mean, I have a safety coordinator saying, hey, you know, you can hold your breath this long. The box is going to be able to provide you this much air. Your body's going to go through this kind of experience. These type of cables, these type of ropes, will, you know, it's better for your body weight, or can hold strong winds or fire, you know, that kind of stuff, or extreme heats and things of that order. One thing we did not take into account for is being inside of an establishment. It even made it harder because we don't have the cool elements of the outdoor weather or
breeze.
the ground.
And all the people there, too. I'm sure it got stuffy.
Yes. Here's the thing. My wrist swelled up. My body
shit.
swelled. I felt like I
good.
gained 10 pounds, and that was not being on TV. You know, I was like 10 pounds heavier. I couldn't even get my jacket off.
Oh my God.
Once I got the cuffs off of me, I was like trying to get out of my clothes, you know, in a sense, to move around. I felt like I was larger than the coffin, and then I couldn't get the shackles off my ankles, and it was a nightmare for me. And I said to myself, do not tell me I'm stuck in this box. Maybe
no fail safe, right?
Words. Yeah, I'm like, do not tell me. And then I just started to claw at that box and push the dirt, and my fingers had blisters and splinters, and it was so much dirt underneath my nails. And I came up through that dirt, and my face hit against this plastic plexiglass wall they created to hold the dirt, and I just heard the audience clapping and screaming, and none of them left. The establishment told me that everyone's eyes were glued to this escape. Then they did not even sell one drink during that time.
I don't care how thirsty I was, I couldn't leave. I couldn't walk away from that. No way.
Yeah, and I was like, bring me a drink at this time.
Yeah, I'm a little thirsty, right?
Yeah, it's a little thirsty. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience. You know, people welcoming me into their arms, hugs, and high fives. It's because it's emotional. You know, I have. You know, I've been told many times I have a fun personality people fall in love with, and then all of a sudden I seem like this little innocent James Bond type of kid, which, I mean, I've been aging a little bit, so I don't look as young.
Don't we all?
as I used to. But, yeah, this this look about me, and next thing you go, okay, let's put a straight jacket on me and bring the helicopter and lift me up out of the city and I'll escape. And they're like, what?
So would you say that second burial would be the closest you've been to death, or has there been something even more extreme?
I have been more extreme.
Oh my God.
It's been more extreme conditions before.
Do tell.
But
Do tell.
before we get on to that, I do want to say the second time I completely understood why Harry Houdini said he would never attempt the stunt again.
Yeah.
Well, how about you? Is there going to be a round 3?
Good question. Actually, being buried alive, there are different aspects of being buried alive. Yeah, we think about, coffin and dirt. But if you think about it, when I'm shackled and tossed into a swimming pool, I'm actually buried alive, if you think about it.
Right.
Sure.
There's water. But the different elements is I have to physically fight through dirt, which, you need more strength and energy.
Yeah.
So there's a different aspect on that, of the escape. But I am working on something else that's even more daring. No one has attempted it before. Actually, the lady on American's Got Talent kind of took the idea, but she did not even go anywhere close to what I was going to do, that I have visualized. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a tank of water built about 6 foot tall. You can completely see through it. I'm going to be placed into a straitjacket with shackles and chains wrapped all around my body. I'm going to be dropped into this tank of water. I'm going to have 400 pounds of ice dropped into the water.
Sounds like the Tough Mudder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Extreme.
It gets better. I'm going to have to climb. I'm going to have to release myself from the cuffs, work myself through the ice. The lid is going to be sealed shut. I'm going to have to work my hand through this tiny hole down the lock. All right. Now, when I get out, I'm going to be out of breath. I'm going to be tired.
Yeah.
Okay. At the base, there's going to be live animals that like to eat humans, like alligators.
Big cats.
Yes. So I'm going to have to climb to a rope, swing across to the other side for safety. So that means I'm going to be extremely tired, and I'm going to have to swing about 150, 200 feet across alligators that are going to be nipping at me.
Wow.
Yes.
That sounds a little too advanced for me.
Sounds subhuman.
Yeah, it really does.
Well, I mean, it changes your Friday night, right?
Yeah, that'll do it for sure.
And Saturday night and Sunday night.
But usually, you can escape by Sunday morning.
Right.
How much preparation do you put into these newer events that you like to put on?
I've been thinking about this for 2 years now.
Wow.
It's kind of important,
and then,
right?
Yeah, and then remember you said about training and things in that order. I just don't jump into it.
Right.
It's different elements. Like I've been messing with water. I've been messing with, being buried alive. I've been messing around with things of ice and things in that order. So these are all separate elements. And eventually I'm going to bring all these elements into one escape.
Whoa.
That's pretty intense.
That's very intense.
So I want to know when you're coming to Los Angeles, California.
I was just there.
I know, he was just there.
I was just there, but I
You
just was
there?
in for a quick trip for a business convention for my full-time job. This is kind of more the labor of my love, actually. But I just was downtown for like one night and just walked around the city and just took in the sights a little bit, but I didn't get to do it a whole lot. I tried to see how quick I could get to the beach from downtown, and it's not really a good way to get there,
Exactly, about 2 hours later.
Right.
The beach. But MapQuest says it's only 2.5 miles away.
Exactly. LA's a different animal from Detroit, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, definitely. I've been to LA once, actually. It was about 5 years ago. More so like the Hollywood part. But it was definitely an experience. I would love to go back there.
Well, when you come, look me up because I have a 2,000 square foot warehouse with all kinds of fun toys in it. And if you want to get chained up and jump into the ocean, walk in the ocean with me, hey, I'm all up for it.
I might try that.
I might take you up on that if I'm
Yeah.
out there.
Yes.
It sounds like fun.
That's a challenge.
As long as you're there to
Yes.
make sure I don't die, I
Yes,
think I might be
please.
in for that.
Well, you
Please
have to sign a
chaperone.
waiver, though.
Yeah, but the non-dying is definitely
Yeah,
you
that's
know, that's
top
a
on
deal
the list
breaker.
right there.
Yeah.
Oh, talking about dying in insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
This is
insurable?
I am. Actually, I am. Lloyd's of London, they love it. Lloyd's of London loves to insure all kinds of crazy stuff.
Oh, I'm sure
So
they do.
jump-
I'm sure they love that pocketbook too.
Yeah, they do. I mean, come on. They insure lottery winnings. They insure game show winnings. You know, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? If someone hits the $1 million or wins the $1 million question, Lloyd's of London pays the $1 million, not the game show. They actually pay an insurance policy.
Okay. They consider you a modern day Houdini. I guess I would consider you a modern day Houdini with all these stunts that you pull, man. How did he inspire you? Like, what exactly about Houdini inspired you?
Now, we have to look at Houdini's life as a whole and just not what he accomplished
course,
as an
right.
escape artist. Houdini was from another country, in a repressed country. He was able to escape from his current situation. He came to America and became a household name. Even today, people still quote him, speak about Houdini, reference Houdini. That's pretty amazing. It's an awesome accomplishment if you think about it.
Definitely.
So he was able to escape and become everything he desired, and probably even more. So I really admire that. And when we live in a tough world, and we have to escape situations every day. If it's we all have our own set of handcuffs, our own master locks,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to escape from those on a daily basis. And that's what inspired me about Houdini. He escaped from the situations, and like that. I try to apply that to my everyday life. Any type of situation that I get myself into, I decide to say, hey, it's possible. I don't panic, just focus. And you're able to come out top, come out live. You're the escapist.
Now, when we're talking about this panic and keeping calm and things like that, I practice meditation. I have for a long time, and that's what kind of keeps me in check. Do you consider that a type of meditation, or is that something like a state you just go in and just kind of, whatever happens, we need to keep this calm, right?
Yeah, I call it something a little different though. I call it nap time. I love taking naps.
Don't we all?
Right. Different type of meditation, I guess.
Yes. No, I do like quiet time. I like to have control of my thoughts. It's very important. You hit it right on the nose when you said meditation. But I think meditation comes in different forms than just sitting on a pillow and going,
Jason knows all about that.
Yeah, many different types, yeah.
Yeah. My meditation is really just thinking and clearing my mind and knowing what I have to do.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does.
Have you ever refused to do a stunt, or did you ever get like a weird vibe that made you back down at any specific time?
That's a good question. Now, I have refused to do certain type of stunts before, or refused to perform at a certain type of event. But once the event is set in motion, I have never stopped.
Okay.
Stopped the escape before.
You're in it to win it.
We might have delayed it because of something that wasn't properly prepared, or an element that we weren't expecting at a particular moment. But all my stunts have pushed through.
That's impressive because there'd be a lot of times if I got a weird vibe on something, it's either well, I can trust my instinct or I can go to certain death. I don't know. What am I going to choose?
Right.
I'm not.
Well, I'm a pro, so I'm not afraid. No,
Yeah.
actually, no. I do get nervous sometimes. I'm like, what the heck am I doing?
Yeah, but there is
Can
still
imagine.
that form of, the scared. I mean, most people can't do that. Most people can't turn that off. You have to be, a sort of pro, like you say you are.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's what sets the amateurs aside.
yeah.
I'm sure.
Well, you know what I do? Yeah, it is scary and stuff. But if you think about it, we do turn off that fear every single day.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
think about it, you're what? Radio show host, right? And you thought to yourself, oh my God, it's going to be hard this. We have to get listeners to do this. We have to come up with content. And all these are scary thoughts, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
been part of the fun part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, overcoming that, like you're saying.
You overcame those. Exactly. The same thing with me. I overcome those fears as well. Like, oh, I might drown. I might not be able to pick the lock. I might not do this. I might not be able to do this. But I overcome that. You apply the same principles in any type of situation.
Yeah.
Even becoming the president, I might not get enough votes. I might not get a party supporting me, but you overcome those fears.
I get that every time before an interview. I get nervous.
Oh, yeah.
So absolutely, I understand what you're saying.
Although an interview doesn't result in death.
No,
most
it
of the time.
doesn't. My hobby's a little safer than
Yeah.
yours. I would
Mine
say.
too.
Okay, I'll give you that one. Okay. So,
What kind? I was reading on another interview they did, and have you done some work with the military? They've had some challenges for you.
oh yes. Oh,
I'd like to
yes.
know about
Oh,
that a
my.
little
Yeah,
bit.
definitely.
Yes, that one was fun. I was challenged by the U.S. military on several occasions. On one occasion, they challenged me to escape from a straitjacket. They saw me, a military person saw me at a VIP dinner with Tony Curtis, at the Tony Curtis event, and I escaped. They contacted me and they're like, hey, we want to put you in a straitjacket. Let's have two tough men, put you in, and we'll see if you can escape. And I accepted the challenge on Halloween. And it was fantastic. It was hard.
I'm sure they made it a little more difficult than
Right.
usual.
Yes, yeah, that straitjacket was very tight. I was like, oh wow. And I usually make a joke about like, oh come on, you can do tighter than that. You can do better. Oh, I did not make that remark.
Oh,
And
jeez.
another question I had was mind reading. I know that you were on TV. I think it was Nicole Richie's mind that you were reading. I'm just, what's the deal with that? Is it legitimate thing? Or do you just do some body reading, or does a person need to kind of allow you in?
Oh, I would think you want to know what Nicole Richie was thinking.
I did.
You do? Well, she was thinking, oh my God, this amazing, beautiful guy is reading my mind. No, go back to your question, Jason. It's all about interpreting thoughts, interpreting energy. It's not like, okay, you're thinking the dog went up the hill. It doesn't work in that fashion. It's interpreting and reading your energy, your facial expressions. And it's just hard to explain. It's just a gift you develop. I think we all have the capability of such. We just have to learn to develop it. And I think many years on stage, because I've been performing since I was a kid, just having different volunteers and working with other people on a regular basis and other entertainers, I just naturally developed this gift. And it's hard for me to explain how to come about it. It's just, you know how you just become a pro in your field? And that's kind of
Some
what
people are
happened
just
to
very
me.
good mind readers. I mean, they can read people very, very well. And I think, you're one of those people that has that,
The
the ability. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not very many people have that. It's a very deep energy, I think.
Yes. Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind being called an X-Men.
It is a superpower, I think.
There you go.
So
Now,
But,
with all these things you're able to do, as far as escaping and doing mind reading and, being buried alive. How do you keep your ego in check, and how has your ego shaped you? Do you feel it's important to keep that in check, or does it have a tendency to get away with you sometimes?
I don't think I have an ego in that aspect. I mean, we all have, egos, but I don't think like, oh, I can do anything, It's sometimes I was like, oh, that's cool, let's do it. But how can we do this in a successful way that I'm going to come out alive? So I don't think that ego has exploded in that manner. But I mean, I do like it when I do special events, and I do like it when they put red and green M&Ms in my dressing room.
Fair enough. I think you earned them, right?
Well, you got to have an ego to a certain extent if you're about to die, you know. So
of course, yeah. Is the glass half empty?
No, now going back, listen to this. Okay, you're thinking about this. Okay, it's all about controlling your mind, and if you allow your ego take control, you won't have control of your mind, and then you're going to panic if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
So I think that's why my ego's not that big when it comes into that aspect.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, is the glass half empty or half full for you? Are you an optimist or a cynicist? I think you're probably an optimist.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think the question is what. Some things it might be good, it's half full or half empty.
Right.
So if it's coconut water and you love coconut water, then half empty is like, oh, I wish it was half full. Or the question is, did you drink it?
Some people don't like coconut,
Exactly. Or, so it's hard to say half full or half empty. I think it's having that perspective of seeing both sides to it. Like, it depends, how did it become empty,
That's a good point.
Now, if you're filling it up, if it started out being empty, half full is better than completely empty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if it's already full, and let's say you fill this glass up and you have to walk 2 blocks with it, I mean, you're going to spill it, and it's going to become half empty, and now you're back where you started, half empty glass, and I still haven't answered your question.
He's got some good insight with that question, though. I think you're going to the extreme with that. I like it.
I wouldn't necessarily call it skirting.
No.
Are you extreme in your personal life as you are on stage? I imagine you have to be to some degree, right?
Sometimes, I'm very outgoing, or sometimes I'm just like,
I have days like that.
Yes. Well, if I, take a nap, I mean, if I meditate, I'm usually have more energy. And, sometimes I love jet skiing. I love parasailing. I love snow skiing. I love doing fun stuff. I don't know if you call it crazy, but I'm not the one who sits on the bench. I love to do all kinds of things. Oh, I'm working on being dropped into a volcano too. I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Oh, Joe. Well, have fun with that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that brought me about talking about extreme things. I've been working on, I get these ideals and concepts, and it takes a couple years to develop these escapes. And I've gone to Iceland on several occasions, and I found a volcano that I can be dropped into and escape. It hasn't erupted in a while, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, let's hope it stays dormant.
Right.
Actually, that would be amazing if I escape and if it goes off like 5-10 minutes later.
That would be
some good PR for you, buddy.
Yeah,
exactly. That would be amazing.
Now, when you come up with these ideas, do you tend to write them down? Like, do you have a book of ideas that you write down and just add to them, or
secret
are they
black
just,
book?
Yeah. Are they just in that head of yours?
It is the 2013 era, so
that's
we use
true.
iPhones for writing things.
That's right. More electronic.
And notes on the iPhone.
Right.
Talk to Siri and she tells everything.
Yeah,
you
right.
know?
Yeah. When I'm in the car, I see something, I get inspired. I saw outdoor movie theater with a giant white screen. And I go, that'd be totally cool if I can hang upside down from a crane in a straitjacket or something in front of that white screen, and they project some kind of images, buildings and things splattering and things like that. And then I get to my iPhone and my little notes. I'm like, movie theater, outdoor movie theater, movie screen, splattering images, tall buildings images, helicopters, hanging upside down, cranes and things of that order.
Yeah, that's got to help with the ideas, is going on Google.
Well, I guess. I mean, you could Google me and find me.
Well, yeah.
Have you been Googled before?
No.
No.
So.
Have you
I'm
what?
sure you have.
I've been Googled.
How do you know if you've been Googled?
Maybe I have. I don't know.
People are very interested in Melanie Abbott these days,
Maybe
from what
they're
I
a
hear.
little more interested than I thought.
Yeah.
You haven't Googled yourself?
No, I think the last time I did that was probably like 4 years ago, and I didn't see anything, so I didn't think anything of it.
I'm sure they found you.
Yeah, maybe they did. I'm sure there's a lot of Melanie Abbotts out there, though. So
Well, they'll find you through the IGC now.
Yep, definitely.
You'll have a couple episodes under your belt now.
Yeah.
As she's opening up her iPhone, Googling herself.
Right. Put it down, Mel.
How do
Come
you
on.
see that?
We're in the middle of something here.
He's mind reading.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so you've worked with some celebrities. You want to talk anybody about that, or who was your favorite, I guess, and talk about your experience.
Were you
with the celebrities a
starstruck
little
by
bit.
anybody?
Yeah. I have worked with a handful of celebrities, and it's amazing. They've all been very talented and great to work with. I've worked with Larry King on one occasion. I was an opening act for an award show. He was being honored. Then I've also, like I said earlier, worked with Tony Curtis for an award show as well. I've worked with Paris Hilton on A Simple Life, as well as Nicole Richie, James Simmons. I've worked with James Simmons. And he was totally cool. He loves sticking his tongue out.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Yeah. I chit-chatted with him after the filming and in the parking garage, and we just talked about magic and escapes. He thought it was a totally cool thing. And Paris Hilton was really nice to work with. When I was cutting her in half, we was rehearsing, right? And I was like pulling her head, like, oh, you have to put your head this way, put your body this way, put your hands through this hole, and all this kind of stuff. And then her producer's like, you can't touch her, no, don't do this.
Can't touch her.
Do that. Yeah, I was like, what? And like,
She's a goddess. Shall not touch her.
I was like, you want me to touch her or not? She's going to be in two pieces, and you're going to be very pissed.
Right.
But no, she was a pro. She goes, no, we have to make sure this looks right, that kind of stuff. And then after the show, someone brought in Kentucky Fried Chicken, and then there was some cornbread. And she asked one of the producers, like, is there cornbread in that box? And the producer said yes. She goes, can I have it? And she was like eating it, like, wom, 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 wom. And people think she doesn't eat, but she does.
Nom nom. Now, what would you prefer? Would you prefer stage or street illusions?
I prefer anything that's going to wow and amaze my audience and give a challenge to me. I think when you say street illusions, I think you're referring to like what some people are walking around with a video camera and making a finger ring
just
disappear.
random people,
and
maybe.
going into it. Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool aspect. But I really love the theater because you can have all the beauty of the stage, of the lights, the sound.
A lot of adrenaline, I'm sure, there too.
And what's nice about the stage is what you see when you see someone performing on the stage, it's what you see in real life. Now, the ones you see in the streets, they do it over and over and over until they get the response or the reaction they want.
Right.
On stage, you have once, maybe twice, to get what you need to do to accomplish what you're after.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Curtis.
And plus, you don't have anyone behind you.
That's true.
I have one parting question here. It's getting a little bit later, and I want to let you get about your day here. we're talking about illusion, we're talking about escaping, but do you believe in magic?
Absolutely, I do.
Okay.
Elaborate a little bit for us.
A little bit.
Oh, no, you said one question. That's two now.
Well, is magic real, or is something that's perceived, I guess?
I think we can find magic in everything. If you look at a airplane or a helicopter flying through the sky, that's magic. I mean, we took metal and we put it in the air. Isn't that magic?
Right.
That's a good point.
Me and Melanie were discussing earlier about, we were talking about bugs in specific, and, she's like, bugs are amazing. I said, well, when you think about it, everything is really amazing. So
absolutely.
Everything's crazy when you boil it down
in its own way.
to it's the bare bones of what it is, and you're looking at an atom. That is crazy.
Yep.
That everything in this planet is built of atoms. I mean, I don't know what you need as far as the definition of magic, if it's God or whatnot.
Right.
But there are incredible things that are in this world for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some incredible things, and I love to challenge it. And one thing is, I love to challenge death.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Well, that's the good note to cut this off here.
Yeah.
I think you like to challenge death. That's a good part.
I like that.
I think it's very clear at this point after our discussion. So, well, I want to thank you very much, Curtis, for being on with us. Melanie, thanks for joining me.
Thanks
again.
for having me again.
Listeners, thanks for tuning in out there. If you enjoyed the podcast episode, share it out. Curtis, why don't you give us a rundown of where people can find you?
Well, you can find me running around the streets of downtown Los Angeles.
Right on.
Or if you don't want to get on a plane and stalk me, you can stalk me on my website, curtislovell.com. That's CurtisLov, like in Victor, ELL.com. And also, I'm on Facebook as well.
You have a Twitter account?
I do, and I think it's Curtis Lovell as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have descriptions up in
the.
I'll have descriptions up on the website and all the notes and everything. So if you guys want to check out Curtis, please do so.
I would recommend it.
It's got some interesting things out there.
Definitely.
For sure. And I'm looking forward to seeing this grand event stunt that you've got planned.
Me
so
too.
keep us all tuned on that if you would.
Yeah.
But thank you. And Melanie,
Yes.
stop thinking about your phone number. You keep wanting me to call you.
God, he does
Damn,
it
mind
again.
reader.
My God, you are good.
Our
I
music
hear that
is
a
brought
lot.
to you
Thank
by
you.
Secrets. He has a free track now. It's available on SoundCloud. You can discuss with us. Visit our website, intellectualgentlemensclub.com. All our podcast archives is on there. We have a direct link to iTunes. If you guys would subscribe and give us a rating on that, we'd really appreciate it. You can follow us on Twitter at IGCcast, and we also have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Intellectual Gentlemen's Club. Again, if you want to support us, you go to our website and use those donate button on there, the affiliate links for onit.com and amazon.com. We have a couple stickers available online. We're probably going to do T-shirts. I don't know when those are going to be coming out, but stay tuned for those.
Yeah.
So, everybody, again, thanks for joining us, Curtis, Melanie.
Great talking to you, Curtis.
Good luck in
Thank
your
you very
future
much. It was
events.
fun.
All right. Well, hang loose out there, everybody.